Welcome to the 13th episode of ML Backstage. My name is Mars Luna.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're introducing this podcast straight from the 6th dimension. This is a music commentary podcast hosted by just Kainalu Kamai and Joshua Luna today. Holo's off the grid for the next 2 months, but he'll be back in the summer. Anyway, my surprise double single, Trapped in Space, is out now! And the boys are going to reveal their perspectives on everything social media related. Earthlings, grab your popcorn and let's get started. Back to planet Earth we go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 13 of the ML Backstage podcast. Today, I am joined by the Hawaiian Hammer himself, K-pop enthusiast, Kainalu Kamai. How's it going, bro?
I am doing alive, doing well. Same old.
Same old. Yeah. Oh, by the way, how was Vegas, bro? How was Vegas?
Vegas was fun. So it was a trip that my dad and I went. Originally, it was supposed to be my stepmom and my baby sister, but they got sick, so we ended up pushing a trip that was meant to go skiing in Colorado, and then my dad ended up turning into a father-son bonding trip to go to Vegas, which we ended up going skiing or snowboarding out there too.
Right. Yeah, because I remember you were texting us the whole time when you were here, and I was jokingly like, thanks for the invite, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were trying to meet up with you too, but it was kind of it was kind of busy.
Yeah, no worries. I think I was busy too, so it wouldn't have really worked out anyway.
Technically, I saw you.
Right. That's on me, head boy. But yeah, I'm joined just by Kainalu today. Holo is not going to be here for the next 2 months because he is currently training right now. He's off the grid. But, as I say on our group chat, in order to get the dream job, you got to get the dream girl first. So that's what he's on right now. But nah, I'm just playing. But anyway, I guess for me, I'm going through it's been a pretty hectic month as far as I'm going to get into some of it in a bit, but I've been going through a pretty wild life transition over the past month or so. And I'm also preparing for a Mars Luna show coming up, Vegas show on the April 29th at Recycled Propaganda. And this episode will be out before the show comes. So if you're in Vegas, pull up, you know what I'm saying? It should be a fun and eclectic show. And also, I'm about to get into, just released a double single for Mars Luna called Trapped in Space. And Trapped in Space is basically a double single that celebrates the Lost in Space 3rd year anniversary. So Mars Luna's first album, Lost in Space, celebrated its 3rd birthday. Still my favorite project. One of my favorites from Mars Luna, as evidenced by the colorway of this shirt here, and I feel like Lost in Space was a pretty special project because there was a lot of opportunities to perform the record and a lot of opportunities to kind of explore what's out there, and that was kind of like the best memories with Lost in Space. And I enjoyed that record so much that, my mom saw me jam a few of the songs on ukulele one time. And she was like, why don't you just release some? You know what I'm saying? And this is 2022, right? So you can just release pretty much whatever. And people won't really budge or really have their eyes or eyebrows raised, right? So, it was a classic example of why not, and Trapped in Space was essentially an experiment. So At the day of this recording, it is April 14th, and Trapped in Space has been out for 2 days. So if you want to stream Trapped in Space, if you want some ukulele flavors, go right ahead. It's out now on Spotify and Apple Music. And Trapped in Space was an experiment. It was a test in a way that was kind of like, I want to see what happens if I don't promote the next songs that I'm, what I'm saying? Like if I was going to plan a surprise release, and I wanted to see what would happen if I just dropped something, because that was something that one of my friends told me I should do. And she's a professional, like, kind of low-key famous artist. So shout out to Reagan Capacey for for that advice, and I followed it, and it was pretty much what I expected so far. And like I said, it was an experiment. So experiment between the correlation between social media and creativity. It's this tension between creating for the algorithm or creating for the love of it. So Nalu, I want to ask you this question. How do you feel like, with the social media age coming around and like having a stronger presence than ever before, how do you think social media impacts your work as a photographer or as a creative period?
When I first started my photography, I promoted it on Instagram, and way back when Instagram first started, that's when social media was slowly kind of getting around, and Instagram was probably the latest and most greatest thing you could have as an app. And I believe that took off maybe in the first couple years of having my photography out there. It grew. I see a lot of likes, a lot of comments, but fast forward to now, it seems as if Instagram has changed more towards video creation, and a lot of content shows less photos as opposed to videos. So for example, my photos now don't get as much likes and comments as they did before, but it's kind of slowly going back up again. But it's just mostly focused, I guess, more towards video work, and a lot of people pushing, even my photographer friends, they're pushing a lot more video, reels, all kind of behind the scenes stuff that I kind of did before, but wasn't, I guess, popular back then.
Yeah,
now,
right.
Now that's now, so it's really hard to kind of keep up with the algorithm. As it's not the same as it was before. Difficult.
Right. Now I feel it, because I feel like a lot of people who create or people who make any kind of art, there is this sense of like, do I really want to promote what I really like, or do I just kind of appease what's working for the algorithm? And it's kind of a weird thing, because I feel like the more sophisticated social media has become, I feel like, it's done more harm than good, even though there is some good, in the sense of like the connectivity between like, you and a random stranger can be stronger than it's ever been, right? And you can still build relationships and stuff off of social media. But it's hard to kind of determine what you think people like, because the algorithm, it caters to you basically, or what they think you like, and the type of stuff that they think that you would interact with. So it's one of those things where it's like, if they kept it simple, right? Because like Kiss's mottos, keep it simple, stupid, right? And sometimes simple is better. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
that's true.
And they Instagram specifically, and even Twitter too, they've gone lengths to kind of overcomplicate certain things that were already working. And you know, it doesn't make, it's asinine to complain about it, but it's just a reality of it, you know. So you gotta just continue to adjust and continue to kind of like be okay, be more flexible with your approaches and stuff like that. But it's a very very weird dynamic. So I guess, you know, it kind of flows seamlessly into the next question. But what are the pros and cons of making music or any kind of art really in the social media era, as opposed to like the era, like say the MySpace era?
That's a good question. Let's see. I can start with the cons of, let's say, for example, my photography work. As of now, in this digital age of crazy social media, I think some of the hardest things for myself or as a photographer is, even though I promote my work a lot to social media, and I know everybody always sees it, it's just somehow it's not breaking the barrier again. So it's stuck in a system of where is it? But then once in a while it'll show up in the explore page and like, hey, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, just trying to promote my work a lot, it's still not getting the attention as it did before.
Right.
I kind of wish they never ruined the whole algorithm thing.
Yeah.
That's fine. I can always just keep doing what I do, and somebody always message me for a photo shoot, so that's not too bad.
Right.
What else could I add to that? It's actually more harder for old time photographers or even people that's been in this any kind of scene for like a while, because now all these new people are coming in and, sad to say, kind of stealing our thunder and our lighting. But whoa, these younger kids are going higher than we are. We've been in this scene for longer than they have, whether it's photography, music, or video making, or anything else.
Yep. They figured out the system quicker.
They did, yes.
Because the system kind of adapted to them, right? Mm-hmm. Like a classic example is TikTok.
That's true.
Like TikTok is, you know, the metric of success for TikTok is insane, because it's like, it's either you go viral or you don't, right? So, and it's more about like, how do you leverage that momentum that you build instead of being like a one hit type thing. And I remember like when I was working on Dark Matter with Tom and Morgan, when I started working on the process again, Tom sent me a text one time that said, like, I hope this album gets attention. And that made me raise eyebrows a little bit, because, you know, to me, it showed that he cared about the album, right? But attention is not necessarily like, okay, what do you mean by that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't, because attention can have a positive or negative connotation, you know, because sometimes not all attention is good. You can get publicity for the wrong things sometimes. And it's just like, okay, like it made me reevaluate what my goals actually are, as opposed to like what other people would view as success, right? So it's kind of weird, because like, even like with music, I would say in the social media era, like you have to create things that catch people's attention within the first 8 seconds or something like that. Or otherwise, like the apps that you use don't consider your app or your content as engaging, right? And it'll be pushed further down the algorithm because of that. So it's kind of weird, you know. And even like songs in general, like the way songs are made nowadays, they're not like you know, 4-minute songs anymore with like a verse, chorus, verse 2, chorus 2, bridge, or whatever. Like the songs are kind of like 2 minutes long now. you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, you know, you're trying to fit as much as you can within like 2 minutes, and it's on to the next thing already. You know, like, you know, I heard this stat that says that, like, I think the average, have you heard this? Like the average human being's attention span is like 8.25 seconds or something like that.
Yes.
And the average goldfish's attention span is like 9 seconds. So like human beings have a shorter attention span than a goldfish does.
Yes.
And Scott says that you have a goldfish memory all the time, which
I
is
do.
which is kind of funny because
For certain things, not everything.
yeah, for certain things. But it's kind of interesting, like how, you know, these apps, they kind of like they kind of test your attention span a lot, and it's just like, okay, this is cool, but what's next?
Yep.
What's next? What's next? What's next? You keep, you know, swiping down, or like, you know, here's the next video, or here's the next song, or, you know, or whatever. Like, I feel like even since I mentioned the MySpace era, like the MySpace era musicians, I think they will have a harder time adjusting to, you know, the way songs are made now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not, this is not to generalize, but it's just more so like, because, you know, we're from that era.
Yep.
Right. So I wonder like how, you know, like if I release the songs that, you know, I worked on now, and take it back to like that era, I wonder if, you know, sometimes I wonder if like things will be more things, if people are more receptive to music in that era, you know. And it's just a random thought to think about. It's funny how, like, you know, eras and stuff change so fast, you know, like even on Instagram, like with, you know, with photos and stuff like that, where it was like in 2017, you used to just like promote, you know, like create like a long story through several different posts, you know. And now it's like we try to trying to put them all together in one and on to the next thing. So it's just weird. It's just weird stuff like that kind of intrigue me, you know. And I feel like if I wasn't making music, I wouldn't be on social media at all. I don't think I would entertain it that much, you know, because I didn't have social media till I was in high school. So I don't remember what MySpace was like for me in middle school or anything like that, because I just didn't think about it. You know what I'm saying? But like, considering like I'm a private person, I don't really like share too much in front of the public, you know, not public, but like in real life,
Yeah,
you know. It would be weird. Like if I were an accountant and being on social media, it would be kind of weird. There would be really no reason for me to have a Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, any of that. Like, music is the reason why I have social media. And like a lot of the music, you know, musicians and creators and photographers and whatever profession art wise that you do, you kind of need social media to, you know, build some kind of equity and build, you know, some kind of business, you know. So it's funny how social media used to be like this cool thing that people kind of used to pass the time, and now it's like an integral part of your business. It's kind of wild. But thinking, going back to like just strictly music, like say fast forward 5 to 10 years, what do you think, Nalu, the future of music will look like?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, because I dwell more towards the EDM electronic scene
and Korean.
Yes.
Right. That's
so I can only answer to those two, but I'm gonna go with more K-pop since I'm mostly in that spectrum of music.
Yeah. And
so,
for this, sorry, just to clarify. For the Spotify and Apple listeners out there, Kainalu is wearing a K-pop jacket, by the way.
It is,
So
and if you know Luna, please support them on Queendom. They are.
yeah.
You need their help. You need their help.
Support your local K-pop girl group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
It's okay. No. So I guess, oh man, 5 to 10 years from now, talking about Korean pop music, I believe it's going to be one of the next biggest genres of music. Because as of right now, they actually have a lot more presence in America and the Western side of music companies.
Yeah.
So they've been promoting a lot of their groups to go tour in the US, worldwide, not just Korea. They even have, I believe, another company that has auditions being held in America for a K-pop group, but based in America, which is interesting.
Oh wow!
I'll be like the first Americanized K-pop group to, I guess, debut. I'm not too sure if that's still happening.
That's big.
It's really big, and K-pop is really global. And if you think about it, it's almost like a universal language in a way. Especially, for example, everybody knows BTS, so that's, of course, they're all over the world.
Speaking of BTS, they were in Vegas this past weekend.
Yes, they were on the Grammys. Was it the Grammys?
No, yeah, the Grammys. It was the Grammys. Yeah. Was I don't know. Like I know
they're on a show. What show was that?
They had a show at Allegiant Stadium this past weekend.
Yeah, my friend was over there.
Yep. So, and I was at the Strip like that week for something, and like the Bellagio fountains, they had like a show to commemorate, to welcome BTS over to.
Wow. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh, that's one example.
Yeah, that's a classic example. So like they made the fountains like purple.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because that was their color and everything, and like it was like all over the local news too. So I just thought I'd bring that up because you mentioned BTS, but continue.
Yeah, so with the K-pop scene, I believe it's going to keep growing, and even right now, I use Discord. So the Discord app, I primarily use it for all my K-pop related stuff, and right now we have voting sessions. Because our K-pop girl group Luna is on a kind of like a survival show in Korea called Queendom, and right now they're competing against other third, fourth generation K-pop groups, even a solo singer. So right now we're using the Discord app to communicate with each other to kind of help promote voting strategies, how to stream the YouTube videos to give them more views so they can get a chance of winning a spot, and so on and so forth. So that's another thing about the K-pop scene with Discord and other social media voting apps, because you can use that to vote for your favorite artist or group or whoever and kind of promote their music towards that way.
Right. I think that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, like I feel like, like you said, K-pop is kind of it's slowly creeping into like the Western parts of the United States specifically, and BTS as a whole kind of helped. They kind of helped expand their territory into the United States. So shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't listen to K-pop like that, but the people who listen are they're dedicated like Kainalu. So
not for boy groups, not to be mean to the boy guys, but
no, it's
the girls. But yes.
No. That's not mean at all. It's they be talented, but I think like something that you kind of mentioned earlier with with the Discord thing. Yeah. I think like in their music as a whole right now is kind of going through more transformations. Like they're going through like dabbling in like they're going into like NFTs. You know what I'm saying? Like
yes.
Like that's something that I might dabble in the future with Mars Luna. Maybe I have to explore that a little more. But I think like since you mentioned Discord, I think like the relationship between the artist and the fans, it's gonna get a lot more interactive, especially with like with social media becoming such a gigantic presence in everybody's life nowadays. And I think, you know, like I mentioned, maybe like the songs are getting shorter, you know, I think right now because like the main genre in American music is hip hop. And I'm a part of that. Like I indulge in that. You know, like I listen to hip hop more than any other genre out there right now. So it's just kind of interesting, kind of seeing how, how social media allows fans to kind of, you know, engage with an artist way more directly. But I also feel like, you know, as a con, it leaves, fans with a sense of entitlement at times because like people like fans can kind of think they have more of a say than they think they do. You know what I mean? But like there are certain elements that are out of like the casual fans' control, right? That goes into like releasing music, especially if you're an artist within um, a record label, right? Like, because when you're in a record label, ultimately the record label has kind of the final say on what to release, on what, you know what I'm saying? Um, whereas like an independent artist has more of a direct relationship with their fans, but still like there's, you know, the fans might want an artist to release a certain thing, but the artist may think it's not done yet. You know what I mean? So there's this, it's like the relationship with an artist and its fans. I'm going to use this analogy. It's like, you live in a house, right? And you have like a bunch of, you know, you have a bunch of like spectators that are, you know, surrounding the house. They can only the spectators can only see what's going on through the window, right? If the window's open. And sometimes like these spectators can make rash decisions based off of what they see through the window, as opposed to like really understanding like what is actually going on. And I feel like social media as a whole, not just in a as it applies to music and artists, but also in the sense generally, right? Like you think you know more than you actually do. And the one thing I do miss is like the sense of like secrecy or the sense of privacy that or mystique that an artist has. You know, although I do love the aspect of like communication and having a direct line to your favorite artist or your favorite, celebrity, whatever, I feel like there needs to be a barrier sometimes. And the barrier kind of protects like an artist's aura, or like, what I'm saying, like an artist's mystique or whatever. So there needs to be a balance. And I feel like if that's not solved, I feel like sometimes like artists can feel like they're being intruded. I feel like that might become a problem. So you got to take the good with the bad and everything. And I feel like even like with I see this on Twitter more than any other app, but like I feel like people sometimes um they devolve into the hot take, right? Like the hot take is the flashiest take, regardless of whether the take is right or wrong. Like the most outrageous take is the one that's going to carry the most amount of weight. And I feel like, that can damage like somebody's like reputation or somebody's credibility or whatever just based off of that one hot take. And I don't want to say like, I'm trying to word this correctly. And sometimes like it's so reactionary. Like it's a lot of things that happen on social media generate engagement by how reactionary it is, instead of like really doing research and figuring out the truth for yourself. It's like, oh, this person said this, oh, I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid now. You know what I mean? And I'm just gonna follow what's cool, follow what everybody else is doing subconsciously. But I feel it all comes to say like the relationship between the artist and fan is pretty tricky. And and if things kind of progress the way they are, the artist and the fan are gonna actually kind of be at the same level, as opposed to like the artist kind of having like a level playing over the fan type thing. And I get it. Like I get both sides, but I feel like, there just needs to be a good balance. And you don't really want to know everything. You really don't. Otherwise, like, the artists that you look up to aren't really going to be people you're going to look up to anymore,
True.
So it's that hero complex type thing. I could ramble on about that all day, but I want to get to the next question. So would you rather create your own opportunities or go where the opportunities are?
Ooh, that's a very interesting question. I'd have to say both, but what would I go with? Let's see.
Both is an acceptable answer.
Okay, well, you can go with both, and then maybe I'll see what I can figure out with either one. So since I chose both, creating my own opportunities, I would say is actually a lot of fun, a lot of good things. It's more of my creative mindset or my own projects that I want to do. Nothing really planned most of the time. Sometimes I would just wing it or decide, hey, I'm going to just do something today or do this today or so forth. But the bad thing about that is, what am I going to get out of it? Is it really for business wise, or is this just for fun, or
right?
Am I really going to commit to it? It's not a bad thing, but sometimes I look at it more as just free time or stuff that I can do on my own if it's not anything work related in a way.
Yeah.
But as for going where the opportunities are, to me, that's a little bit of a bigger take on what I would try to go for, depending on what it's for. So for example, if it's for photography, of course, I'm going to take any opportunity there are for my related photography skills or whatever they need me for. That's going to help me progress furthermore than what I'm doing probably right now. Hopefully. If not, it's good experience or good learning and maybe even some extra money because I do need money.
Right.
We're all struggling artists, we all know it.
Yep.
But I think I'd still choose both, but if I had to really, it would be for where the opportunity is, because you never know where it's going to take you. For example, if I took a opportunity to be a Nat Geo, I'm gone, I'm leaving. Or somebody booked me for somebody booked me for a photo shoot in Korea. I'm gonna go.
You bet your rear that you're out of here. You're out of there.
I'm out of there. Hey, if they needed somebody to cover the war in Ukraine, I'm going to him.
Right.
Yeah, anywhere you need a photographer, hey, send me.
Right.
I'll do it.
No, I feel like that was a really good answer. That was a really good answer to the question. I asked Holo this question last month before this podcast even before this podcast happens, and he said that he would create his own opportunities. And I guess from his perspective, like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for him, yeah,
for him, it makes a lot of sense. He is, you know, in a way, like you said, like both. He's actually doing both right now. But I think because to me, like there's layers to this question. Like it actually goes very, very deep. So I'm gonna preface it by reading an Instagram caption from local Hawaii creative Style Leaf. Shout out to Kanako. Never met her before.
Oh yeah, I know her. Yeah,
but yeah, you and Holo know her. But she put something like this on one of her like Instagram reels. So she says, "I always get asked the question, would I move out of Hawaii and live in another state? Instead of chasing opportunities, I'd like to create them. So my answer leans no. I hate seeing locals leave. I miss my friends so much, but I understand no one wanted to leave. They had to. I don't want to get priced out of my own birthplace, and I'll do everything I can to stay." So I relate to that sentiment wholeheartedly because, you know, I left Hawaii in 2014 because another opportunity came up. But you know, I think this might be a Hawaii thing, but you know, like if you ever leave Hawaii, you bring the aloha, you bring the culture with you wherever you go. Yep. Right. And that's never been more evident than, you know, these last couple years. You don't learn to appreciate something until you're gone, right? Or until you're no longer in that specific space anymore. And that's human nature, you know, but I'm not excusing, you know, the fact that, you know, you don't really appreciate things while you're currently in it, you know. And I feel like for the longest time, so to answer that specific question, for the longest time, I thought that the best way to go about things was to create my own opportunities. And for the longest time, like I tried my hardest to be like, you know, I'm going to figure this out by myself. Like, I'm going to do things my way. Like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, because that's how I've survived. I've survived by kind of figuring things out on my own. And, you know, in order to go from surviving to thriving, there needs to be changes. There needs to be, you know, you need to take chances, right? So I tried to create my own opportunities for the longest time, and as an artist, and I feel like, you know, it's cool to create your own opportunities, but I feel like that idea now is based more on fantasy than it is on reality. And like you said, Nalu, if there are opportunities elsewhere that may be beneficial for you and your growth, you take it.
Yep, that's true.
That's the bottom line. You take it. And like, I feel like in pertains to Mars Luna and like, you know, his trajectory right now, I feel like, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without revealing too much, but he's reached an impasse. And that was because of me trying to do things my way, or try to, you know, hope that, you know, an opportunity kind of comes out of thin air by creating my own opportunities. If you were to create your own opportunities, there needs to be a solid foundation to build on, you know, in order for, you know, these opportunities to manifest itself, right? There needs to be something to launch on. There needs to be something to kind of build on. And otherwise, like the opportunities that you try to create are just going to be theories, and they're going to just be dreams instead of like realities, you know. So I feel like where I am right now, um, for me personally, as well as Mars Luna, um, I would I would rather go where the opportunities are, and especially seeing like where Vegas is now, like in what Vegas is building towards. It's gonna be a real interesting thing seeing what Vegas ends up like in 2030, because Vegas has changed so much in the past 8 years 7.5 years that I've been here. And it's like we've had a sports team that's been around for 4 years, a hockey team, a professional hockey team. We've had uh, we have a football team now. You know what I mean? And we have a WNBA team, women's basketball team, and we have a minor league baseball team now, and we are about to have an NBA team. You know what I'm saying? Like Vegas is Vegas is becoming what it wants to become. And I'm just trying to see like where Mars Luna fits within that, whether his trajectory or my trajectory is heading in the same direction. So like in essence, like were there opportunities here? Absolutely. There have been opportunities here. But where are there are there, greener pastures ahead? I don't know. The only way to know is to find out.
Yeah, that's right.
So I would say, some people say, the grass is greener where you water it, right? But what if there's no grass to water? What if the grass is dead?
Straight mud.
Straight mud. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of an interesting, dynamic with that. And also, I want to say this before we close. Social media has kind of developed this attitude from fans to artists about like there's this conversation about who is slept on and who is not slept on, or what, you know what I'm saying? But I want to say like outright that Mars Luna isn't where he wants to be yet, and he isn't where I want him to be yet, even though there is some growth, which I'm thankful for. I don't think Mars Luna is slept on. He's absolutely not slept on, because to me, being slept on is an entitled mindset. Instead of complaining about being slept on, you can use that energy to get better at your craft.
There you go.
And instead of complaining about being slept on, use that energy to become undeniable. If you're slept on, if you are underrated, if you are placed in those categories, it just means you're not the best yet, and some people have that it factor, some people don't, right? And some people say that it's hard work over talent. I would say that you need both. You need hard work and you need talent. And in order to get to where you want to be, you gotta, develop better relationships with people, whether it's through fans on social media, or whether, it's whether building the right relationships with the people that, that you need in your corner in order to succeed. You're if you think you're slept on, you're not. If you have any kind of fan base, you're not slept on. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic. So I don't know. Like that's just a perspective that I wanted to share before we close this thing out, and just kind of do the work necessary, and just strive to be the best at your craft and at whatever you do. And I'm saying that for me. I'm saying that for me. So I'm not exempt from what I just said. So Nalu, appreciate you coming on. This was a fun conversation. And I'm gonna close us out with the social media stuff. So you can follow me on social media on Instagram at Luna B Joshua. You can follow Mars Luna on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at It's Mars Luna. Stream Trapped in Space on Spotify and Apple Music and Bandcamp, Tidal, wherever you listen to music. And be on the lookout for new songs for the summertime.
Yeah.
We go,
You won't be disappointed, everybody.
No, and no, you will not. You will not. I'm just gonna say that we're keeping it within the family in these next couple songs. So let's just put, without spoiling too much. You can follow Mars Luna's website at itsmarsluna.com, and you can subscribe there for newsletters and stuff and early updates, so y'all won't miss out. And trying to think, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, on Apple, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to us. Appreciate everybody who's been listening so far. I know it's like a small group so far, but I'm appreciative of y'all, and I just want to thank you. Nalu, plug whatever you need to plug, bro. Plug Luna or whatever.
Yeah, was my last one. Anyways, for everybody that has a camera, I can see. You guys can follow me on my Instagram at Lawn Photography.
Oh, crystal clear with the DSLR quality. Yes, sir. You can actually see it.
Also, I'm just gonna show you. I have TikTok, so yes, I do have TikTok. I use it for mostly a lot of K-pop and funny videos that I could create, but
facts.
currently I have one that's 27.9 thousand views.
Oh, go low-key viral. Okay, I see you. I see you.
Anyways, that is my where is it? Right there. That's the TikTok.
Hawaiian Oppa, there it is. Hey, shout out to the Korean community. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, K-pop community. There we go. And then lastly, I got right here, Twitter. Mostly for
there we go.
K-pop stuff and whatever random stuff I post. But yes, that.
There we go.
And same thing on Discord, the same name too. What else? Also, if you are a fan of K-pop and Idari Sonyo, aka Luna, please feed them too. We need their help. We gotta make them win. And I'm wearing my bias #1 girl, Heejin, right here. So
let's go. Let's go.
That's all I got.
So I'll plug all of those social media stuff in the description. So you can follow Kainalu on Instagram at Nalumon Photography, and TikTok and Twitter at Hawaiian Oppa. Yep. On TikTok, there's an underscore, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll Hawaiian Oppa, TikTok Hawaiian Oppa with the underscore between Hawaiian and Oppa, and Twitter at Hawaiian Oppa with no underscores. And stay tuned for the next episode, because we're gonna try to get a special guest on. So
nice.
So stay tuned for next month, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Shoot.
Our recording has stopped.
Trapped in space, lost in space. Let me out, Ethan.
Speak for yourself. I'm living my best life here.
Cap. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the ML Backstage podcast. If you liked what you heard, follow us on Spotify and Anchor, and subscribe to us on Apple and YouTube at ML Backstage. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Mars Luna, and you can find all my music on Spotify and Apple Music and on my website at itsmarsluna.com. Trapped in Space is out now, so go stream the double single on Spotify and Apple Music. Thank you all for listening. We're looking to have a special guest for next month's episode, so stay tuned for that.